Use the mic, make sure it's on. Diolch, thank you, David. Bore da, good morning. Thanks so much for the invitation to be here today. I think you've pretty much summed up so much of what I was hoping to say anyway, far more quickly and eloquently than I would. So I'll try and be brief, just to explain a little bit about some of my work, some of the things which I'm involved in, and why I think this is such a critical factor for us to address in partnership with health, the third sector and communities, which is, I think, really critical for this particular issue. As mentioned, my name's Steve Huxton. I work for the Older People's Commissioner for Wales, and I look after Ageing Well in Wales, which is the Commissioner's National Partnership Programme, which brings together individuals and communities with public, private and voluntary sectors to design, promote and create innovative, but much more importantly, practical ways to make all of our communities, wherever they are in Wales, better places for all of us to grow older in, and crucially, whatever age we are today. And a little bit of background for those who might not be aware. Wales was the first country in the world with a formal commissioner to look after the rights of older people and to champion the voices of older people. And it's been about 10 years since that was instigated. We've just had a new commissioner start with us, Helena Herklotz. She's been in post now for 2 months. And she's going guns blazing. Many of you in this room will have already met her. She's running around Wales to meet as many people and groups as possible. And her first change has been the easy task, she said us all, to no longer are we out there to make Wales a good place to grow older. Our job is to make Wales the best place in the world to grow older. So I certainly don't feel that we've got any big challenges or expectations on us as a group. But crucially, I believe we can do that. I believe what the opportunities we have in Wales do allow us to make Wales the best place in the world to grow older. And that's because, you know, I work with some remarkable people, but really what we are is we are catalysts and enablers to support people like yourselves to do the work. And it's only through working together we make these amazing changes. We've got some very interesting, I think, statutory and legislative sides within Wales, which open doors for us to do things in different and innovative ways, which can make a real difference. But that's only going to happen if we are all quite bold and brave and prepared to take those steps to do something new and different. So, just for those of you who may not be aware, I do recognise quite a few of you in the audience, but if you're not aware of Ageing Well in Wales, as I said, it's a national partnership programme. We launched almost 4 years ago to the day, and in that time we've built up a network of over 1,600 people throughout Wales. And Ageing Well network members represent over 500 different organisations. And Ageing Well Wales network members represent everything from chief execs of health boards, to GPs, to people who run the local post office, to volunteers within community groups, to interested individuals. It's a real broad range of people, and in some cases I think that what gives us our strength as a movement. And my job, as such as it is, because it's really a privilege, is to support network members to be able to create the change they want to see in the places where they live and work. And I have the opportunity to work with fantastic and amazing people throughout Wales, and seeing some of the things which they do, which are transforming the lives of older people. And while I think we've got a great position, we've got great community spirit, we've got great organisations within Wales, one of the things we are generally terrible about is standing up and shouting about what we are good at and making sure other people know to share the good practice which happens. And it's something we need to get a lot better at. So we support, as I said, we support network members to try and do the things which are important to them. We do run our own events all around Wales, but we also increasingly look to find what is needed from people to do things. We've worked really closely with universities, with third sector, with voluntary organisations to create guides and publications to try and share good practice and inspirational ideas. And after me next is Dr. Deb Morgan will be speaking, and we work together on a little guide which you'll be able to find out on the Centre for Aging and Dementia Research stand about practical ways where people can look to tackle issues of loneliness. And when we launched the programme 5 years ago, we felt loneliness was a key factor we had to have as one of our aims, as tackling the impact of loneliness on older people. And for me, it's essentially, it's been for a long time the hidden epidemic which is impacting so many people. And as we've done more and more research on this, and as we've got more understanding, we're really starting to see the massive physical and mental health implications that loneliness has. It's not just feeling a bit down. It's not just feeling a bit left out. This is having massive impact on people's lives, on people's well-being, but it's also having massive impact on the opportunities for us to deliver sensible and sustainable health, because we know that those people who are suffering from chronic loneliness are often increasingly referring themselves to medical services. And I think this presents a challenge for us as wider society, but particularly within health, is how do we address something which has very real, concrete health impacts, but doesn't fit in with perhaps a traditional medical model of diagnosis and prescription. We need to look at different and interesting ways of doing things. And I think that's going to be a challenge for all of us here. And I hope that within Ageing Well in Wales, we can be part of the solution to be able to bring people together to find the ways which are going on. And you'll be hearing about some of the interesting things which are happening in Wales. And we need to really quickly try and mainstream those and make them the norm. We need to get away from a nation which is full of interesting and innovative pilots and into a nation which is full of interesting and innovative solutions which are affecting the lives of all people. And I think it was really interesting when David mentioned the impact of arts and music. It's one of the most joyous parts of my work is looking at how do we use arts, culture, creativity and play to be the medium by which we can engage with and involve older people to get back plugged in with their communities. And certainly if you look at some of the work which is done here in Bangor University, there's astounding work being done, which again, we need to get out there, we need to share better, we need to take it away from great reports and great pilots to actually be real things which are affecting people within their communities. I'm not going to speak for much longer, I just really want to talk about a load of facts and figures because I figure you guys know a lot of these. But I wanted to make a plea that the Ageing Well in Wales network is open to all. If you're not already a member and you don't occasionally get emails from me asking you to events, please come and have a chat with me at some stage during the day. We need you involved. Not only will you get an opportunity to do the stuff we're already doing, but being a network member means that you help us shape what we're doing going forward in the future. The network is in very much, really is a social movement and we need as many people involved as possible. I also wanted to make a big plug for some of the amazing stuff which is happening particularly here in North Wales. In looking at quite innovative and exciting ways of engaging with people, particularly involving people with dementia, there is a ton of stuff happening within North Wales. And if you are not already aware of it, we need to make sure you are. As well as the National Ageing Well in Wales network, we also have a North Wales Ageing Well group, which meets up every quarter. And what we're really looking to do is create that group as to be a collection agency to create the good practice and the ideas which we need to mainstream, which we can use to influence future policy, which we can use as almost creating the ideas and the sustainable solutions which can tackle not just loneliness but other issues of well-being for older people throughout Wales. And I think here in North Wales, we've got, there's no better place in the world to realise that there's great things which can be done, but you do need to be sensitive to how you do things. The Welsh language is of vital importance here. The geography is vitally different here. Solutions which may work here may not be relevant for people who are based in Swansea, for example. So we need to have an approach which allows us to take different ways of doing stuff. So if you're interested in getting more involved locally and helping us build the ideas which we can then present to decision makers and policy makers going forward, please, I'll ask them, please have a speak to either myself or Aled from Age Cymru. Aled, can you wave your hand a bit? There you go. And we can sign you up and make sure we get you involved in that as well going forward. And it will be challenging because, as was pointed out, we're in a situation where we're being asked to do increasingly more with less. So we need to be much smarter about what we do. But interestingly, I think some of the solutions are out there if we can just embrace them, take them up and actually get them used by a wider audience. And I just wanted to end with, I'm actually quite positive. It can be really negative talking about issues of loneliness, and when you start to talk about the statistics and the impact on people, but I have the opportunity to go all around Wales and visit groups and individuals doing amazing things, and I can see the difference it can make to people. It's also easy to get really cynical about big schemes and projects and policies, but from those can come real change to people. But that does mean we have to work together, and I guess my call is, please, can we have this opportunity to work together, to stop worrying about what used to be our little walls between us and the silos, and instead just go we have one job. Many of you in this room, including myself, are public servants. We are paid for by the public. The public expects us to deliver results which improve people's lives. They don't really care which badge we're wearing when we do it. So we need to change the way we all work together. And my last point before I leave and stop babbling on is there's been some great work recently which is pointing out the fact that loneliness is not just affecting older people. It actually affects people of all ages. And I think that's really crucial, and I think it's important, and we need to embrace that and look at how do we take an all-age approach to tackling loneliness. I know Catherine's going to be speaking later about some of the fantastic intergenerational work, which I think offers some ways of looking at how do we bridge communities together and tackle loneliness. But I also want to, point out, and it's partly because of my job title and who I work for, that while I think it's vital, I'm certainly not dismissing loneliness as it affects younger people. I think we need to be sensitive to the fact that for older people, the reasons that they end up becoming lonely may be very different to those of a 16-year-old. But also the ways in which they can be helped out of loneliness may be different. So while there may be issues which are really drastically affecting people's mental and physical health of all ages, I think we have a responsibility to understand that there is a one-size-fits-all isn't going to work, one, between geography, and two, between ages. So I think it's important for us to look at where there are links we can bring generations together, but also not forget that I think loneliness is experienced by an 86-year-old can always be quite different to loneliness experienced by a 16-year-old. Thank you so much. If you'd like to have a chat with me at any stage during the workshops or lunch today, I'll be around for the rest of the day. So thank you.